So let's pretend for a minute that I am an alien intelligence. So, do you want to play? Do you want to have fun today in this podcast? So, let's play this game because if you attribute to me an alien or extraterrestrial intelligence, maybe you will follow the instructions that I will give you today, and maybe you will revolutionize your life starting today, but more and fully realized long term in the next 5, 10 to 20 years. Now, if you only listen to my ideas as the clinical psychologist, as the entrepreneur, as the philosopher, well, you may say that sounds good. That sounds good, or I don't know if I believe that. Oh no, that is definitely a psychological craziness, and your mind will be debating the whole episode, and that is a good thing. Sometimes, sometimes we need to debate. Sometimes the whole purpose of undertaking an intellectual journey is the fights, the intellectual confrontations. Is that is very fun sometimes. But sometimes that is our greatest limitation because we are so focused on debunk and disrupt and breaking what it is talk about, the discussion, the subject, that we do not apply anything about the subject. So for this episode only, I don't care if you are my long-term fan and you are for the whole Mastermind Podcast Challenge Season 2. I don't care if this is the first time that you watch me, or maybe you watch me sometimes and sometimes you don't. But let's just pretend for the next hour or so that I'm an alien force and that I am appearing here in Earth, in your consciousness, only for you, and that I will give you an information that 90% of humans do not know. And I, as an alien, I'm telling you, terrestrial being, that if you apply this knowledge, you will advance further in the universe. You will become a great universe yourself. So remember, if the Dr. Derek Israel told you that, okay, sounds cool. How I do it, but tomorrow you forget. But if an alien tell you that, how you will feel? Hmm, you will listen. You will explore. You will take notes. And tomorrow, or starting today, after the episode is over, you will revolutionize your life, because it's not the idea what is sometimes important. It is the authority and the conviction and the trust of the source of information what actually make all the difference. So if you really want to transform your life, you have to do two things. One, perceive at least for 1 hour that I am an alien today. And second, apply the idea. Because today we are going to manifest your future self by starting to live in the future. And welcome to the episode, extraterrestrial episode 496. What type of alien do those 496 episode of the, oh, my throat is funny. All right, we're ready. The Mastermind Podcast Challenge Season 2 with your host, Dr. Derek Israel. And for today, I don't have any announcement. So let's go right into the subject. So I was looking for the book to give you, to show you, for those that are watching on YouTube or in the video on Spotify and not only audio platforms. Um, I was looking for a book to show you because I wanted to do that live recommendation, but I don't find it in my bookshelf. Maybe it's in my apartment because I have books in my bedroom, I have books in the kitchen, I have books everywhere. So sorry for that, guys. But anyways, I guess that I can share the screen. So let's start by sharing my screen real quick, and I will show you two books from the same author that will um, deepen the idea that we are going to discuss today. So if you find fascinating this idea of living in your future, the first book that I recommend, it is called Becoming Supernatural. I am showing this in the screen for those who are watching, and the author is Dr. Joe Dispenza, Becoming Supernatural. The second book is from the same author and is the same idea, but in a more simplish language. I think it is called the habit. Let me see if I remember. The habit of not being yourself. Let's see. Let's see the English version here. So this is the second book. It's from the same Dr. Joe Dispenza, but this is called Breaking the Habit. Here, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. How to Lose Your Mind and Create a New One. Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. That one is the same idea, guys. You will read literally the same. But Supernatural, the first book that I showed, is more technical and have more details in physics, in quantum physics and biochemistry. So if you are more into details and into go very profound in ideas, buy Supernatural. If you are just like, okay, I just want the idea and let's move on, buy Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. Both are great books. And these books are all about what I will be teaching today. It's about living from the future or living in the future. It's kind of the same. And what is the simple idea here, guys? What is the root of this idea? Well, very simple. And remember, I'm an alien. I'm an alien. The idea is the following: if you live from the future, you will manifest that future because you manifest whatever you are. Every reality that you face, it is a piece of you. It is a piece of your self similarity. That is a good concept that I encourage you to look further. Self similarity. And that is the phenomena of systems, complex systems, that tends to recreate themselves in every dimension, like a fractal, infinite kind of recreation in every dimension. Um, for example, if you have a child, your child have parts of your genes, at least 50%. The other 50% is from your partner. If this is only if natural pregnancy, it is if it is a natural pregnancy. If it is something in laboratories, this may change, right? But your genes are a self-similar system. They reproduce in the next creature, right? In the next biological creature, and in the next, and in the next, and in the next, in the next. And in a kind of weird and funny way, we are just the product, or we humans, like right now, are the products of very old genes that have been recreating themselves for millennia now, maybe for millions of years, and they are still here. So that is an example of what is a self-recreating or self-similar systems. That happens a lot. Art is another example. You always will reproduce the art self similar to you. And we can go on and on and on with different examples of self similarity. But that is not the subject of today, although I will cover that in the future, so follow for more. So you create what you are. And I think that this is something that we most can agree upon. Yes, there's some kind of people, very intellectual sometimes, but very nihilistic in their perspective. And they are like, nah, that is a wishful thinking. That is delusional. You don't create what you are, you create what your culture wants you to create. You create what the structures of society want you to create. You create depending the societal limitations that you found yourself in, the historical context that you are right now living. So thinking that you create what you are just based on thought, emotion, self-image, futuring, meditation, mindset, massive action, and all those bullshit self-help concepts are just delusional, and it's an excellent way to wash your brain with non-intellectual gurus that make money by faking reality. Yes, there's a lot of people that will think that, and that is okay. That is okay. Yesterday, not yesterday, but in the past, I used to get mad. I used to get angry with haters of self-help, haters of personal development, even haters with psychology. But now I am in a different stage of mind, and I'm in different stage of spiritual uh, progress. Now I understand that they have a good role to cover in life. Haters, this type of cynics. Cynics means that they don't believe easily. They question everything. And I know that they have a very good role in society. So I forgive them and I accept them. so that now I can have fun with them. And what is the role in society? Well, the role in society is to make you aware that definitely in the self-help slash personal development slash psychology, mental health industry, there's a lot of charlatans, and there's a lot of people that really don't know a lot, and they makes you think that they know, and that has been historically. But the thing is that we cannot judge the ideas based only on certain agents that have expressed the ideas before. We need to judge the idea by the idea itself, by the beauty of the idea, by the artistry of the idea, by the pragmatic element of the idea, how well it functions, how well it works, not exactly only by who says the idea, who expressed the idea. And that is something important also, but we need to balance very good our judgments. So there's a lot of people that we think that will think that way, will think that this is bullshit, and that is okay. Now, what do you think? Do you think that you create what you are, or you think that you create other things that you not are? Well, I'm an alien, so I will tell you. In this hypothetical episode, I have supreme extraterrestrial intelligence. So shut up and listen. That is a kind of a rude alien, huh? So look, this is my opinion on it. Yes, for me, in my perspective, you create what you are. This episode is what I am. I cannot create another conversation, another narrative, oratory, podcast, performance, a part of what I am. So if you are living in the future, you are creating the future, because the external reality, and this is passive, right? This is in a passive tense, but the external reality will accommodate itself to the template that you have in your mind. So if you're a web designer, or if you are a designer like for photos or photography, you know that we works with templates. I am not a professional designer, but I have been learning how to design like for the last 2 years, web page and photos for my brand and stuff like that. Simple stuff. I don't design crazy stuff. My wife and business partner, she do that, so I don't have the need to get crazy. But I am do it because I enjoy to express my creativity in my whole potential. So one thing that I have learned in designing is that templates are pretty good, right? Maybe pro designers will differ and they will say that is for noobs. Definitely, I'm a noob. And thanks to templates, I can create as a professional while being a noob, while being a novice, right? So when you have a template of a photo, you have the structure and you put your elements in the photo or in the template, and all the elements of your work accommodate to the template. So you don't need to do nothing. The template serves as a structure for everything to fall into place perfectly, right? That is a template. So when you are living in the future, you are setting the template, you are setting the structure for how your circumstances, your life, will accommodate themselves in the structure of your life, in this metaphor. And I don't like to say will accommodate themselves, because I already said that is in a past tense. And I am not a fanatic of sorry, not past tense, passive tense. I'm not a fanatic of that, because that give us less responsibility in the creation process. So, a better way to say it is that you will make fit your life circumstances in the template that you are operating from. If you are operating from the template of your past, you will accommodate always the past in your present. If you are operating from the template of your present, you will accommodate the present in your present. But if you are operating from the template of your future, just give me one moment. I don't know why my throat today, I have been like 2 days and my wife is the same. I know that here in Arizona, winter is leaving now, like the sun is stronger and the cold is getting away. And I don't know if that change of temperature and weather is giving me like a little bit of hard time with my throat. Anyways, I feel excellent. Let's go right into it. If you live in the template of your future, you will accommodate the circumstances, the resources, the friends, the mentors, the experiences, the trips that are according to that future. Let's say it in another way. If you vibrate as the past, you manifest the past. If you vibrate as the present, you will manifest more of the same. If you vibrate as the future, you will manifest and you will become your future. That is the simple idea. Now, let's go to more complex details of how this works. So, why exactly it is important to live in the future? Well, it is not important. It is a decision. Some people will live in the past forever. We see that in the psychological offices every day. I was talking with a colleague of mine. She's a psychology, almost a doctor. She's a few months away of having her doctoral degree. So she's attending a lot of patients right now. And she told me, Derek, I just realized, man, patients, some of them, most of them, sadly, where she works, that happens a lot. And this will depend on culture, this will depend on setting, this will not depend on patient to patient, but this is her opinion, and I kind of agree in a certain sense. Most of patients, sometimes the severe patients that are very system oriented in the sense that they already have a lot of psychologists, a lot of history, a lot of psychiatry treatments, a lot of pills, a lot of uh, benefits from the government due to their mental health. So they are systematically very involved in the mental health system. Most of these patients, sometimes they don't care to heal. And that is the sad truth about mental health. That we psychologists, psychiatrists, social workers, coaches, therapists, whatever you are, if you're helping a human being with a mental health problem, you should know that there is a high possibility that that person is saying with his mouth that wants to be cured, that wants to be healed, that wants to be different. But the probability of that being true is very small. A lot of these patients are just fine living how they are living. And we can call this a byproduct of a very corrupt mental health system in United States, Puerto Rico, and I don't know about other countries. Really, I don't. And I'm not an expert of every culture, so I know that this may be a bug or a problem that we are facing more in the Occident part of the world, maybe. Um, but definitely this is something that we are experiencing. So those type of patients, you can work forever with them and they will still live focused on the past. And they will create the exact same life one time, two times, three times, and forever. Some of them don't live only on the past, but they have a little bit of the present in them. So they are kind of a little bit behind, but then they come back here and in that kind of cycle. Some patients, and this is our hope, this is why we still do our work, because in mental health is a very stressful work. And sometimes the pay, it is not worth it, you know, for the things that we do. And but sometimes what gives us hope to mental health professionals is such that sometimes a patient comes and he's starting to embody a little bit of his future. He's starting to think a little bit about his future. And in those moments, they become very adherent to the treatment and they establish very profound goals that they can actually go and attack systematically and deliberately, right? And we as psychologists, we or psychiatrists or whatever, we help them in that process, and that gives us hope. But we can see in our private offices, we can see the importance of making a patient or inspiring or convincing a patient to live in his future, because the future will drag their present version into the future, into out of the current state. And maybe you're saying, Derek, but that seems egoistical. You are living on time. You are not teaching your patients mindfulness. You are not teaching your patients being here and now, just happy with equanimity, with peace of mind for what is going on here. You are making them to live in a fantasy. That is not healing. Well, that is a good point. That is definitely a good point. And I will express and I will explain a little bit the importance of living in the present in order to live truly in the future. So I am not discarding the present. What I am trying to go against in this podcast is against the past, and not demonizing the past, because the past is your past is a source of infinite resources, emotional resources, intellectual wisdom, a lot of good things you will found in your past. You will find in your past. But living in your past, for me, that is not a good idea. And I will explain you why. So, why is important to live in the future? Because this is the way that you evolve and that you advance in your life. One thing is your present body and your present reality, but another whole new thing, a whole different beast, is living in tomorrow, in yourself of tomorrow. And that self of tomorrow is not limited to time, it's not limited to cause and effect. It is not limited to the slowness of material operations. When you try to operate in material reality, everything is slow, because everything here in this third dimension, it is fixed with macrophysical laws that make everything slow. Everything needs a cause to be an effect, and everything is like mechanical. That's why Newton talked about the mechanical universe, because it's pretty mechanical in some sense, in the macro sense, in the not in the macro, but in the middle sense. In the macro and the quantum, in the quantum sense, it is not mechanical at all. It is mystical. Again, some people will differ, but I'm an alien. So believe what I'm saying today. They are mystical, right? So, and you can go and research for yourself. You don't need to believe me. You just research. Are quantum laws mechanical laws? Are cosmological laws strictly mechanical laws, including what is going on when you go and travel through a black hole, theoretically, and stuff like that? So, yeah, it's kind of interesting subject. So this is how we evolve, guys. Living in our future. Most of our friends they will live in the past and in the present. You you will live in the future for now on. Yes, you will be perceived as weird. Yes, you may do crazy stuff living in your future. Yes, that will happen also. Are you ready for the journey? I don't know. You only know. But the real question is, do you want to manifest the future that you want? Yes or no? Well, that is a whole new conversation for you. So, look, why most people live in the past? Let's go with the contrast. As I always tell you guys, human beings, we learn through contrast. That means that to learn what is one, we need to understand what is two, right? To understand what is white, we need then to understand what is black. So the contrast of the future is the past. And why most people live in the past? Well, most people live in the past because they are addict to the past. I will repeat this. This is very important. Most people live in their past because they are addicts of their past. And you may say, how the hell they are addict of their past? Because their addiction is something, that you drink or that you consume or that you like, I don't know, engage in addict sex, or maybe in the casino. Is something like it is going on in the present. It is not the hamburger, the addiction that you have with the McDonald's hamburger. It is happening in the moment that you are taking the hamburger and you are stuffing that in your mouth. That is the addiction. That is not living in the past. Good argument. Good argument. But look, addictions are not for the thing itself. You are not addicted to alcohol. You are not addicted to sex. You are not addicted to Xanax or to heroin or opioids or I don't know, whatever, coffee. You are addicted to two things. Oh, sorry guys. I disconnect my microphone. Just let's check that everything is good. Yes. Um you are disconnected mostly sorry, you are addicted mostly to two things. First thing, you are addicted to the chemicals that doing the thing that you think that you are addicted to produce in your body. You are not addicted to the coffee. You are addicted to the chemicals that are produced in your body when you take the coffee in the morning. You see? If you can have the exact same chemical reaction and consequent psychological state and sensation, that will be the second thing that we become addicts to, become addicts to. If we can have that without taking the substance, we never take coffee again, or at least not so often. If you can touch a button and feel, woo, like you are in a coffee state, you don't need coffee then. If you can touch a button in your neck and you can feel the sensations of opioids in your body, the relaxation or whatever they feel. I haven't done opioids, so I don't know. But the relaxation and the anesthesia, whatever. If you can push a button, who will inject a nail to consume heroin? Who? If you are taking the risk of getting sick with HIV and other infectious diseases, why you will insert a nail in your vein if you just can touch a button and have the experience? So we are not addicts to the thing. We are addicts to the chemicals that we produce when we have that substance or thing in our life. And also, we are addicts to the psychological state slash how I feel, baby, after I did this. For example, people that are addicts to very dangerous sports like jumping through cliffs with parachutes, or I don't know, um, extreme sports, whatever they are. It's not the sport that they are looking for, it is the adrenaline, right? It is the adrenaline. They can change sport to sport to sport to sport, but if that sport have adrenaline, they are for it. I'm not judging them, you know. I like danger also. I do it sometimes. A little bit of danger is very important, but I'm not go all the way like some people. But they do it for the adrenaline. As soon as they can learn how to produce adrenaline with other things, they may do it because they are for the experience and the chemical, not for the sport. Now, when we live in our past, as most people in humanity do, we are living there because we are addict to the chemicals of our past, aka to the emotions of our past and how our past make us feel. So if in your past you suffered a lot of bullying, let's say in your school and in your house, that is in your past when you was a child. So what happened with your body and what happened with your emotions? You was producing a lot of depression, a lot of fear through that stage of your life. That depression and fear gave you some sense of identity. It was not your whole identity, probably not. You have another things in your identity. But fear and depression was a fundamental aspect of your childhood in this example, right? So that is very merged with your identity. That is almost one with your identity. And remember that your identity will produce the emotions and the mood of the day. Not only, but most of it. Because your identity is like a nucleus or a central commander or a headquarters for your personality. So your personality is everything that makes you you, including your emotions and how your emotions are manifested through cycles and patterns. We can call that emotional patterns. So it is so fixed in your identity, those emotions and the chemicals, because emotions are chemi- uh, chemicals. That is what is our emotions in a very physical analysis. So those chemicals were always running through your childhood in your bloodstream. They were part of you and they changed you. They changed your body. They changed your structure. So in bioenergetics, they call this the body armor. The armor, the body, sorry, takes a specific armor or a specific morphology depending on the chemicals that you are producing most of the time. For example, in this case of fear and depression, in this case of bullying, this child probably will develop a very curved kind of body, like a very low key, low energy kind of body, like almost without showing their face, maybe the neck very down, and maybe they will not look at people at the eyes directly, like that kind of presentation in the body. But that is the manifestation of a lot of chemistry that has been going on for a long time and is disrupting the body. But the thing is that let's say that that child one day is a 25 years old man and is having a good career as an accountant, and he opened his own office as an accountant, and he finally met a good man. Let's say he's gay to be more diverse. And so he met this good man and they got married. And so they are starting their family in their little house, and he has his own office in his house, and he's working, and he's starting to feel better. He started to feel his present. Okay, look how this works, because now he's not in the past. He's not being bullied. He's not being depressed because in his house he's also bullied. So he's living in the present. Right now, I'm with my husband, I'm in my house, and I'm in my office. So I feel good. But what happened? The body will say, uh oh, this is weird. Where are our chemicals, boy? And the guy will say, what chemicals? Well, the depression ones, the fear ones, the panic ones, those chemicals that are so tasty, yummy, 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 yummy. And he will say, fuck you, man. I'm a new man now. I'm not bullied anymore. I overcame that. I'm a married man now. I'm a businessman now. And I am going to do myself. I'm going to be another thing right now. He says that, right? But for how long he can maintain that attitude? That is the real question. For how long, in this example, this accountant, this guy, oh, sorry guys, for how long this guy can maintain that status? That is the real question. If you ask me, I will say he will maintain that status for a couple of weeks, maybe at best, and then he will go back to his pattern. If he doesn't heal drastically, if he doesn't make something to really change his body, the emotional patterns, the genes that are activated, because this is the another step that I will go further in this podcast, the genes aspect. If he don't change the infrastructure of his existence in a couple of months, he will start to get depressed again. He will start to be fearful again. And maybe his husband is not bullying him. Maybe he's a good guy. Very nice guy. But this accountant will sometimes feel that his husband is bullying him. Why? The chemicals are kicking in. The body is asking for the same and the same. And you may ask, but why the body will ask for those chemicals if we know that are bad for you? Well, that is a good question. But why the hell your body keep asking for a cigarette if you know it's bad for you? The same question. Why the hell your body keep asking you to jump from a plane every 2 weeks for the last 20 years, knowing that you can die? The body doesn't care. The body is amoral. The thing is that we try to think about our body as we think about our mind. And although they are the same system, they're different processes. Mind and body are the same system, different processes. What that means? Well, they have different kind of personalities. So the body is not moralizing. The body is not saying this kind of thought process. Is this good or is this bad for me? No. The body just wants, but the body needs to survive and to feel good. The body doesn't care if to feel good, what is asking is poison. It doesn't care. It doesn't care. The body doesn't care that if what is asking for feeling good is raping someone. It doesn't care. The body just wants sex. Wants sex? No. What wants? Oxytocin and dopamine. That's what it wants. The chemicals that are produced in sex behavior. Now, the body, as soon as the body sees a sexual object, if you are a sex addict, it will want to go and to conquer, to consume that sex object. But what if that sex object do not want? Sometimes they rape. Sometimes, not everyone, not every sex addict will do this. But I'm just saying sometimes. Why? Is because that person is amoral? Not necessarily. Their mind may have morality, their body do not. And in sometimes people go with their guts and don't listen to their mind. Now, there has been cases in which the person doesn't have morality almost at all. And we can call those psychopaths. But I have been working a lot with psychopaths in the United States. Um, and I don't, this is only my experience. I may be wrong. And I don't remember to read. I have read about it, but I don't remember to see a significant statistic. But psychopaths not necessarily will be rapers. Not necessarily. The fact that you have a disrupted emotional system and a scarce moral system, if something it is there, moral wise, it will not make you a rapist. That is a whole different game. So we don't have to associate psychopaths with rapers or rapists. Um, and I don't know. Maybe I'm a optimistic kind of guy when it comes to psychopaths or people with psychopathy because they are projected so bad in movies, in media, like serial killers and stuff like that. And some psychopaths are just humans. Like, you don't consider an autistic individual a rapist just because he has autism, right? You don't consider him a serial killer. They may be. They have different kind of emotional connections than people without autism. They can be, but you don't associate with that, right? So why we need to associate psychopaths with these criminals? Not necessarily, not necessarily. But anyways, we live in our past because we are addicted to our past. So, Derek, what about the present? Because at the end of the day, yes, you are living in your past, but it's in the present. And you may live in the future as you are suggesting, although you haven't said anything how we will do it, but I expect that you will say, and yes, I will say, but we can live in the future, right? But from the present, you cannot escape the present. So, what about the present? Well, the present is imperative. The present is the starting point. The present is the genesis of the whole technique, or we can call it lifestyle. This is more like a lifestyle. This is not a truth that I want you to actualize as a technique. For example, I don't want you to say for now on, yes, I will practice the living in the future technique. No, this is something that you will live forever here. It's a lifestyle. But yes, definitely from the present. You cannot escape the present. And we do not want to eliminate the present. What we do not want is to extend the present forever. And I will explain what that means. In a sense, we want to extend the present forever in a spiritual kind of perceptive mind frame. What I mean by that is, yes, you should aspire to live in the present forever in the state of mindfulness, in a state of nirvana. If you can achieve these kind of states due to meditation, yoga, spiritual practices, yes, we should aspire to live in the present in this way. But from the present to the future, it's kind of like a perfect sexual union between future and present, always copulating with each other inside your own being. You are a platform of sexual interactions between your present and your future. And your future and your present are copulating, and they will make kids and they will reproduce. What are those reproductions? Well, your new ideas, your new attitudes, your new mindsets, your new endeavors, the new things that you create to manifest your future. And obviously, this is an analogy and a metaphor. Nothing is having love inside of you, at least that we know. So, this is a metaphor, guys. So, yeah, do not discard the present, but don't live here forever. You want the present to be constantly changed, moving forward to what you desire profoundly in life without attachment to that. Because one thing is desiring, and another whole new thing is, you know, having attachment with those kind of things. So how it works? So a couple of things to know and to understand how it works. If you really wants to know the mechanics of how this lifestyle works, how living in your future actually makes you greater than you are, go and read one of the books. that I suggested in the beginning of this video, and that will give you more details. But this is the basics of how this works. So it all starts with chemicals, right? With every state, every psychological state that you tune into in your everyday life will produce chemicals in your body. And those chemicals, one thing, yes, you will become addicted to them. So you will become addicted to the life that you have. But another thing that will happen is that your genes will be affected with your emotions. And we can call this epigenetics. So if you haven't never researched before, what is epigenetics? I strongly recommend you to research that because it will change a lot of your perspective in your life and how you choose to transform your life. And basically, epigenetics is the science and practice of altering the functions of your genes. Okay, that is in a nutshell. It's more complex than that, and there's a lot of details, like in any industry, right? Because you can say, for example, to have mental health, you have to be happy all the time. Okay, that's a good statement. How the hell I do it? Well, then you need to go and study all the details of happiness, mind, emotions, so everything is the same. So epigenetics um is it's a process that is going through while you are having these emotional environments. And the same emotions, this is in a nutshell, it's more complex, but I don't want to get very complex. In the same emotions produce the same genes, not produced, but activate. That is the real word. That is more accurate. Activate the same genes. So if you're having the same genes, you are having the same instructions. That is what genes are, instructions on how you will operate or how you are operating in the moment. So let's give a metaphor with software, and so you enter if you enter a Facebook page, the Facebook page, right, the normal kind of the timeline. Well, Facebook as a software, as the product, needs software to function. If there is no software, there is no Facebook. The software is, in this analogy, like the genes of Facebook. You don't see the software, right? If you go to Facebook right now, and go to my Facebook here. If you go to Facebook right now, you see the photos, the posts, right? You see the stuff, the text. That is all open software, thanks to software, but you don't see the software. But if Mark Zuckerberg wants to make a substantial change in their Facebook, what he needs to change? He needs to change the text of the content? No. He needs to change the photo that you upload yesterday? No. He needs to change the software. The software, that is the thing he needs to change. He needs to change the code. He needs to change the instructions. And we users, we're going to see The new change manifested in our timeline without directly seeing the code. Well, that is exactly the same with the genes and the emotions and your life. If you want to change the emotions that you are feeling and the life that you are manifesting, you need to activate different genes, different codes. And that will activate in you different functions and different capacities. Because different genes give you different talents and different capacities and different ways of expressing. So if you're activating the same emotion because the same gene, because the same emotion activates the same gene, and it's a negative reciprocal cycle, you will live in the past. But if you change this cycle, and I will teach you how to do it in a bit, you will activate different genes that will activate different emotions, that will activate a different mindset and a different perception of your life, that will activate different behaviors, different decisions, different priorities, different ways of being that will activate a different future manifesting in the present of your life. So that is like the ladder of manifestation. We start with genes. And we go then and we climb the ladder to emotions, to mindset, to actions, to results. And this do not end here. This is not a biochemical, psychological kind of paradigm, what I'm teaching you guys here. This is algo very spiritual and algo very quantum physical. Quantum physical. Because we manifest exactly what we are feeling. The observant in quantum physics, the observant always play a role in what is being observed. And not only a mental role. Yes, that is default. We always play a role because we perceive things and we think about it and we project our biases. Yes, that is standard. But what I'm talking about is that we influence the metaphysics of the reality, the spiritual side of the reality that we are manifesting through our observation. And not only the observation, through the qualia, and qualia means the quality. Through the quality of that observation that we are observing, through which we are observing, with that qualia, we are going to manifest different qualia in the reality that is manifested. Like the quality of our observation manifest the quality of what will be manifested. It's a self-similar process. So every reality, every potential reality is existing in the quantum state right now. Everything. But when it's in a potential state like this, we can call this a wave. In quantum physics, it is called a wave. Because a wave is something that it is intangible, right? It is potential. But we don't want to stick with a wave because we then have all, but we have nothing at the same time. We have only potential. When we have potential, we have all, because everything can be, but at the same time we have nothing because nothing is yet. So we cannot stay with the wave forever. So we need to make the wave a particle in quantum physics language. So a particle is a material aspect of the potential. Something appeared. The wave of this glass is that this glass may be white, green, black, I don't know, brown, but the particle of this glass that I'm showing in the screen is that it's a red glass, all right? That is the particle part of it. It's defined, it's strict, it is fixed in a state of matter that is concrete. Well, through you hacking your emotions and through you hacking your genes, you also will hack the way that you are converting waves into particles, not only in internal realities, what we can call subjectivity or phenomenology, but also in your external reality as well, what we can call law of attraction or manifestation. And a lot of people, they will say, this is the point, they will say, "Lah, bullshit." Again, relax your mind. Don't let the inner critic that is a cynic to disrupt the apprehension and understanding and integration of what I'm teaching you today. Remember, I'm an alien. You cannot debate with me. You can debate with Dr. Derek Israel. You can debate with Joe Biden. You can debate with Putin, but you cannot debate with an alien. So relax. So you should go and study these fields: genes, epigenetics, chemicals, biochemicals, and addiction to chemicals in your body, and quantum physics. If you want to profound, you want a more profound knowledge in this area. But by reading the books that I suggested, you will have already filtered all the information and will be very easily for you to digest. So, how to live in the future? So, this is the practical tips. This is the techniques. This is the holy guacamole part of this podcast. So, now take notes because this is how exactly you will learn how to um, do this. So, the first step, or the first secret, or the first hack to live in your future and therefore to manifest your future now, to drag the future to the present, is to understand that you are more than your present reality. This is the first understanding. You are always more than your present. You are always more than your past. And you're always more than your future. You are more. You are the whole sum of those factors. And that gives you a very good position because that removes the victim mindset of the equation and you are empowered now to really make changes and to really be strategic on how to proceed in the different kind of futures that you have at your disposal or your disposition. I don't know if disposal is the right word. So I will give you a personal example of how I apply this. Hmm. When I was working in prisons in Colorado corrections, I, as a clinical psychologist intern, guys, this is my life purpose. And I have a whole course about life purpose that I teach you how to connect, how to discover, and how to make money with your life purpose. So if you are interested in that, go to derekisrael.com and check it out. It will be very soon translated to English. For now, it's only Spanish, but in the next few weeks, I'm launching the English version. So when I was in Colorado in my internship, although I was finishing my doctoral program, I was the last stage of my doctoral program. I was not that active in social media. I was not that active in this project, in this podcast, in my products, in my services, because all my energy was divided between my internship, my doctoral dissertation, and my daughter. So I have these three monsters, and my daughter is not a monster, but she's definitely a monster. um, so I have these three monsters on my reality, and so I could not work a lot in my project, and I tried to do it, and I did. I did a couple of videos and a couple of courses, and I did some things, but it was not fulling, and I was feeling horrible about it. I was feeling stuck. I was feeling miserable sometimes because I know that this is my full passion. My full passion is not going to a center to, you know, talk with people psychologically. I like to do it. It's one of my professions, but I'm a holistic guy. I always has been like this. I'm a spiritual guy, I'm a philosopher, I'm a marketer, I'm a businessman. I create businesses. I love psychology, but that is not the only thing that I do. And I was feeling miserable. But in that time, one of the projects that I was doing with my wife and partner, business partner, it was we were creating, or we were not only creating a brand, but we were experimenting with Clubhouse, that is an audio-based platform that was launching and premiering in that date. So it was a very new thing in that moment. So we were having um how do you call those rooms, clubhouse rooms every day after I came back from work from the corrections. I went back to home, I play with my baby, and then we went and we do a room and we co-host the room, and we were having fun, you know, a lot of ideas. For example, the hoponopono idea, I think it was in English. That episode you can look at in my YouTube channel, Derek Israel. You know, that idea came from one of those floors. But this idea of supernatural and breaking the habit of being yourself, of those books, came from one woman in those, you know, rooms, that she told me that that is their that were their favorite her favorite books. And I was like, okay, that's cool, I have never read them before. So I went and I read them. You know, I read them. And so I understood this idea very profoundly, that I needed to be more than my present reality. So I said to myself, okay, I'm here in this internship. I'm here in this Colorado place that I didn't like it too much. I, having a lot of cold in a very white supremacist town. I was in a town that is known to be one of the foundational towns of of the KKK clan, Ku Klux Klan. So the collective unconscious of that town was very racist. Although I didn't experience direct racism, like maybe in that town, maybe once or twice, a direct type of racism thing. But most of the time, I didn't experience a direct racism, but it was feel in the air, like, you know, the tension. And I didn't like that place. But I was there finishing my doctoral degree, right? But I say to myself, I am more than this. I am more. I am my future. And I start drawing my future in that moment. So every day I wake up and I went to the prison again to see the same offenders, sexual offenders, criminals, psychopaths, schizophrenics, people that are murderers and stuff like that, rapers, stuff like that. And I went to see them every day with my whole disposition and my whole desire to help and to be my best. But I was more than my presence with them and with the staff and with the everyone. And in my house, I was my whole future. I started vibrating as my future. My present was the corrections. My real present was my life. And I started practicing this like maybe like in March, and I ended my internship in the finals or in the end of July. So I practiced this like for 5 months in the end of my internship, and it went great. So understand, my friend, that what is going on in your life right now, it is not what will define you. How you select to vibrate, what mindset you bring to the table every day, that is really what defines you. That defines the experience, the interpersonal relationship that you have with people. That defines everything in your life. So be aware. So, what do you need to do? You need to think, feel, and speak and act as the future you. I will repeat this. From now on, if you want to live from the future towards your future, you need to think, feel, speak, or talk or express forward, and act as your future self. You cannot wait to be your future self, to act as your future self. You need to act now, because this action as your future self is what will activate the genes, the emotional patterns, the psychological states, images, ideas, innovations, and the motivation for action, or I will say the drive for action, more than motivation, drive, that is necessary to actually materialize your future self. You understand now? Next step, plan your desired long term future as if short and middle term milestone will be inevitably achieved. So when we are talking about planning our long-term future, like 20 years down the road, 30 years down the road, it is difficult because when we are trying to do that, we say, okay, but for that, this must happen. And for that, this must happen. And that is your deconstruction capacities of your mind, of deconstruct things and to get things complex and to take and remove and to manipulate. That is just mind stuff. If you really want to project your future long term, like to set the ideal, you need to leave your mind and go with spiritual laws. And in spiritual laws, you don't need to know all the causes and effects of how things will work. That is just the mind. The mind and its sense of control. It wants to know all the details. Your spirit is fine just to tell your spirit, I'm going there and I don't know how the hell I will get there, but I will. And your mind will say, yes, but if you want to get there, you need to have this degree, and you don't have that degree. Okay, I will have the degree. So you make it as if it will happen inevitably. And then your mind will say, okay, you have the degree, but then you need to have the licensure and you need to take a lot of other exams. And most people fail at those exams. And you will say, yes, and I will. And then your mind will say, yes, but to do that, after taking those exams, you need to become successful as that type of professional in order to do this. And you will say, yes, I will. And your mind will continue. But the whole idea is that you need to think that everything will work out to have that ideal future very fixed in your vision, very fixed in your mind. And you might say, Derek, it is that not delusional? How we know that really we are going to achieve everything in a roadmap towards that future? Yes, you don't know. And maybe you will not achieve everything. Maybe not. But what you are saying is, hey, I will drive forward into this. And maybe sometime something will not work, but when that moment arrives, you will know how to work around the thing and to achieve it anyways. Let's say, for example, if you don't pass the exam, if you don't pass the licensing exam, right? Well, and you wanted to be successful either way, you can say, okay, I didn't pass this exam. I will not take it anymore. And I will focus on all the things that I can do with my degree that doesn't require a licensure. And I will go all in on that. Because if most professionals are licensed in their industry and they are doing all the same thing, well, maybe it's an opportunity for you to have the acknowledgement of that type of degree. Maybe you're a lawyer, but you are not going and defending cases, but you are maybe a start in social media talking about the law, or maybe you're a politician, or maybe you are a TV show host, right? You can work around things. You don't need to worry about that now. The whole thing that you need to do is to set the final goal and to assume with peace of mind, with tranquility. This is very important in manifestation. With serenity, you need to assume that that will work. That's it. This is the next step. Fight your way out from the natural tendency of your mind and body and spirit to go back to live in the past. And I will remove spirit from here because spirit never is disturbed, and the spirit is always in every dimension of time. So spirit doesn't apply here. This was a mistake that I did. So let's say fight your way out from the natural tendency of your mind and body to go back to the past. So you may say, Derek, that sounds cool, but can I maintain that forever? Are you sure? Can you do it? Can you do it every second of your existence? Can you really be the future all the time without going back to your old memories, without without trauma kicking in every time that you are exposed to a similar situation that activate the trauma? Is that really possible every time? No, not at all. It is not possible every time, at least not for me. I haven't mastered it every time, you know. But it doesn't need to have every time. It needs to have at least most of the time. Most of the time. So what I have been discovering is that it's like a cycle. Like I come back to my past and my present, and then I push forward to the future. And I'm vibrating there. I'm vibrating there. I'm thinking, acting, saying, and feeling exactly as my future, exactly as my vision, and I'm acting that way. You can see it in my aura, you can feel it in my words, you can see it through my eyes. I'm in my game, and then slowly, 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 I come back to the present because maybe my wife had a crisis, or maybe my baby girl fell off in school and I'm all worried and stuff like that happened. I'm in my present, and then I push forward. I'm in my future again. You know, and that is the game. That is the game. It's like a constant uh struggle of power. And you see, when you read the Kybalion, is a very good book, spiritual book. There they teach you that neutrality is one of the laws that you want to achieve, and this is in the chapter of rhythm, if I am not mistaken. um and neutrality means that our ideal, our spiritual ideal, is someday we will stick neutrally in the anchor of the future, exclusively there. We will be neutral in the sense that no emotion, no experience will be able to drag us to the past or the present. But that is an ideal. I don't know if you can really achieve it. I don't know. I don't know. I am in my journey. I am not completely enlightened yet. I'm going for it. I'm shooting to the moon. I'm shooting to the cosmic realms. But I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you can know. Maybe you should know. Maybe you should try to know. And the final tip, and with this we wrap off, is that you should combine this futuring or future living technique with gratitude to maximize the effects. So, gratitude with your past, gratitude with your present, but also gratitude with what you already have in your future. So, it's difficult, but try to fill your body with gratitude of with about the things or caused by the things that you don't have right now. Like, for example, I right now do not have, okay, let's say this one. One of my goals, my definitive goals, is going in a spiritual trip to China. I already did India, to China. I have been working on that for the last 5 years, planning this. If it was not for the COVID, and if it was not due to the fact that COVID probably start in China, therefore they are more like, you know, they are more reserved in the sense of the traveling there and the precautions. I already would have gone in this time of COVID times if it was not for COVID. But for COVID, and due to the high problems that I can face traveling to China, maybe then I cannot come back. And this is not definitely the best time to travel. So I haven't done it, but I feel gratitude of the fact that I'm already in China. I'm in China? No, I'm in Arizona. But I feel the gratitude that I'm on China. What I'm doing there? Well, I am hacking my state because I know that a present moment soon is in the future now, but soon will be me on China having a spiritual adventure. And I will do that. And I will document the whole journey. And you will say, he did it. But you can do that with all goals that you have in your life. Specifically, generating the gratitude emotion instead of mind for the things that you don't have right now will cement those things for them to come. to you. So live from the future. All right, my friend, I'm wrapping this off. If you enjoy this podcast, click the like button, you know, leave a comment. I want to know what is exactly the future that you will live right now. Simple question. Answer the comment. When answer the question. When you comment, you are, and if you are, focusing on your future during your comment, you are doing this exercise. You are thinking, acting, right? You're writing, you are speaking, you are talking, and you are feeling, because every writing will comes with feeling, in a way that is coherent with your future self. So let's make it clear. Put in the comments below what is your future and how you will live it today. Also, share this with your friends. This always help. Just a share in a social media. That's awesome. And also, I remember to you, let me remind to you that this podcast is on Patreon. And Patreon is a very good platform to support artists like me that are doing a lot of free content. And you can support this podcast with only $5 per month. So if you are enjoying all the free content that I'm giving to you, you can support me, and in uh, in the intern change, you will receive exclusive content behind the scenes and very good stuff that I'm working on Patreon. Just check on the description where it says support me on Patreon. Read all the information, because there's different type of supports, and different supports give you different benefits. And if you are willing to support this podcast that helps thousands of lives, mostly for free, well, live that love. And finally, I want you to invite you to my course of Life Purpose course. In Spanish, Manifestando tu propósito de vida. Right now, it's only on Spanish, but in the next few weeks, I will translate that to English. I will publish the translation. It's currently on development, so you should definitely check derekisrael.com to see if already is in English. I already translate two of my courses. I'm on my way to publish them. It is the sexual mastery one, and is the self-love one, and the next one will be life purpose. But with the life purpose, dude, this is the whole deal. This is the deal to live in the future. Like, if you can connect and discover why the hell you are here in your life, why, what is the reason, what is your specific reason? If you can connect with that, then you will live in that future. You will live in that new understanding of you. One of the things that makes me so persistent in this product and in my services, in my social media, in my brand, in everything that I do, is because I know that this is my life purpose. So it's easy for me to go to that image and bam, connect that future, plug in that future, plug in that future. If I didn't know, you know, what is my life purpose, how the hell I will do this technique? Well, I can imagine myself, I don't know, having money or being very fit, but is that really what I want? No. What I wanted to is to help millions of people to achieve their greatness and have fun in the meanwhile, and do business in the meanwhile, definitely. But that is really, look all the details, look all the colors of that life purpose. But that it hasn't been easy for me to develop that mindset and that strong image. That it has been a process, but I simplified the process. I made a system very easy, step by step, for you to follow, and this system will help you to connect discover and manifest your life purpose. So the link is in the description. It will be at your own pace. Everything is pre-recorded, so you can access forever at any time. The courses will be forever actualized, so you get long-term value with them. Um, Also includes a workbook, so it's not something like video lessons. Includes a professional workbook that will help you to really understand what do you want in your life, what is your purpose in your life, and you will start living the life that actually feels quite good when you are waking up. Imagine how you will feel every morning if you know exactly what you are doing in this life, in your life, buddy. It's your life. It's not mine. It's your life. How you will feel every morning, how you will attack the day, how you will manage your emotions. Very different, in a very different way that you are doing now if you don't understand and you don't really kind of know your life purpose. And hey, this is normal. Most people do not know their life purpose, but you don't have to be like them. You are supposed to be advanced. That's why you are doing this. If not, go watch anything else. A lot of things are more fun than this in Netflix. Go watch porn. What is more fun than seeing sex? Go watch porn. Don't watch this. This is for serious students of life mastery. This is what we are doing here. That's why I am not the most popular guy in the block. And maybe I will never be. And that's good. I made my peace with that. Making my pieces. I'm in my in my journey as well. But maybe that is the thing. That doesn't mean that this is not my life purpose and I will stick for it because this is my happiness and it makes me happy. And I want you to be happy. So let's realize your life purpose. The link is in the description below, and your life purpose is waiting for you. Are you ready to make the chat?